Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today we will be talking about the possible outcomes of a, Joe Biden exit from the 2024 presidential race. Now this is a story that we have been following for quite a few weeks now. After the disastrous debate for Joe Biden, it appeared that his, nomination might not be guaranteed. Of course, the Democratic National Convention has not happened yet. That happens in early August, so there is time still to replace Biden as the nominee. But what it would take, first of all, is for Biden to drop out. They're really, even though it is technically legal, it is almost impossible for the delegates at the convention to revolt against Biden, and it just would not happen. That many delegates wouldn't just revolt against, the candidate who picked them to be his delegates at the convention. It just wouldn't happen. So it would take Biden dropping out for these outcomes to happen. I outline about three possible outcomes, three ways, paths forward for the Democratic Party that they could take, possibilities at least, if Biden were to drop out. Now, when it comes to Biden dropping out, more updates. Yesterday we had literally dozens, it was like in the 20s, I think, dozens of Democratic lawmakers, Democrats in Congress, call for Biden to drop out. Adam Schiff has done it recently. So many did yesterday. And donors are pulling out. Nancy Pelosi is trying to get him to drop out. Barack Obama told him to reconsider. Hakeem Jeffries, Chuck Schumer. Democratic leadership is telling him to get out. So it looks like, especially with the donors, if he doesn't have money, it looks like he'll be forced out. It's one thing to, right now, resist, stay or staying in the race, and really want to, but when it becomes impossible, then it's really beyond your control. For Joe Biden, or, not right now, but pretty soon, it will get to the point where it's beyond his control, and he will be forced to drop out. So, there is reporting from top Democrats also that he will withdraw potentially tomorrow, the earliest being tomorrow, but we'll see what that turns into when it comes to polling real quick. Donald Trump leads by 4% nationwide in the RCP average. Democrats need to win the popular vote by at least 2% to win the Electoral College. At this time in 2020, Biden was ahead by 8.6. So the point is, he doesn't have any chance in the general election, and Democrats, if they want to him, should replace him. So what I was saying before, I currently see about three paths that the Democrats could go down when it comes to Biden dropping out. Quickly, one is sort of an acclamation. Biden dropping out of the race, and then quickly endorsing his vice president, Kamala Harris. Then with that endorsement, she rides easily to the nomination. Maybe it's not exactly, still maybe it's an open convention, I guess you could say. But still, with that Biden endorsement, no one would challenge her, and she still just easily gets, basically all the delegates. Now, this is one of the paths. So, I think that this is the most likely path because, what we have been seeing is that the Democratic Party, even in the case of an open convention or something, those types of candidates who could run in a open convention like that, they are people like Gavin Newsom, Gretchen Whitmer, Josh Shapiro, etc. They are privately telling people that they are with Kamala Harris. So, Harris being Joe Biden's vice president, with that connection, yes, there is skepticism in the Joe Biden camp about Harris's ability to win. But despite that, I feel that they clearly don't want an open convention. That's something that they definitely don't want. Many Democratic or people in Democratic leadership don't want it too because of the chaos. So ultimately, I think that would result in Joe Biden endorsing Harris. This would, of course, be the easiest path. However, would it be the best considering the general election? I don't know if it would. I don't think it would, because then you don't have much competition, and Democrats just, see Harris just ride to the nomination without any sort of competition. She didn't have to fight for it at all, and that would really, I think, even though it's to avoid a divided party, I think in the end, it would make the Democratic Party less unified, because at least in a competition, in a fair competition, one candidate will come out on top fairly. and the party will be forced to accept that. And I think that it would just unify the party more, than someone who some Democrats might not even like, just riding to the competition or riding to the nomination without any sort of competition. But I do think that is the most likely path. The second path is having an open convention. So what this means, what an open convention is where Biden would drop out and he simply frees his delegates, is what it's called, which means that he says to his delegates, don't vote for me, I'm out, but you can vote for whoever you want. Whoever, whatever. Whichever candidate you want to vote for, you can vote for. So Pelosi wants this, apparently. And which is surprising, because it surprises me that any sort of Democrat in a leadership position would want a convention so filled with so much chaos rather than a orderly acclamation of Kamala Harris. But I think it would be a good idea. It would capture a lot of attention. And people would love to learn more about the candidates and watch how this really historic event unfolded across how many days it would take. But obviously it would take a lot of time, and it would be a lot of chaos. But this sort of open convention where it could be anyone, right? Sure, you have Harris running, but it's the delegates deciding, and based off of what the delegates say, if potential candidates think that Harris could be beat, then I assure you, this would be their time to throw their hat into the ring. 2028 is so long from now, anything could happen. They would want to throw their hat in the ring, try to become president now rather than later. So I think that an open convention would result in quite a few candidates. Now, we'll talk about this with the Blitz primary as well. That's the third path. But in the case of a Blitz primary or an open convention, I believe that there are, even two more paths coming out of these paths. That being either just a couple or a few candidates run, assuming Harris runs, or you have dozens of candidates run. I don't feel that there's somewhere in between. I feel that you will either have very few candidates or just so many candidates, if that makes sense. So that's what I'm thinking for an open convention. But looking at the Blitz primary, I could see, of course, obviously, many of the same type of candidates running. I believe Kamala Harris obviously would. I believe that Gretchen Whitmer probably would. People like Deval Patrick, who can't win, but they don't realize that, would run. Maybe very notable people as well, like Elizabeth Warren. People aren't talking about that enough. Or someone like Andy Beshear or Gavin Newsom or J.B. Pritzker. Many of these governors or senators, they might throw their hat in the ring, try to win this nomination. But again, it could either be Harris and then maybe just a couple minor candidates like J.B. Pritzker or Andy Beshear or Josh Shapiro challenge her and not have that much of a competition, or you would just have a flood, dozens of Democratic candidates jump in. Now, as for the Blitz primary, what a Blitz primary is, and this idea is being floated by some, Democratic insiders, actually, some Democratic donors want this too, is a one-day nationwide primary. So what we know primaries as is, of course, Iowa goes first, at least for the Republicans, and then New Hampshire, and then Nevada, then South Carolina, then the Super Tuesday, and then the rest. So you have a couple early states that do, dominate, really, the primary election, which, and they decide which candidates move on, gain momentum, and all that. So in a Blitz primary, none of that when it comes to momentum or anything like a primary schedule matters, because every state votes on the same day. It would be extremely chaotic if they did, go down the path of dozens of candidates running. Then you would have so many states just vote for different candidates. I mean, there would definitely not be a clear winner because there would be so many favorite sons and daughters. What that means is, so many states where their governor or their senator is running and they will vote for them. Like Michigan would vote for Gretchen Whitmer, or Minnesota would vote for Tim Walz, or Massachusetts would vote for Elizabeth Warren. So it would be extremely chaotic. I don't know how they would do it with delegates. I don't know if it's just whoever wins the most delegates on that one primary day, on that one blitz primary, would end up as the nominee, or if they, allocate the delegates and then move forward towards the convention and still have, a contested convention like that. I don't know how they would go about that, but I feel that in the blitz primary, I don't know if as many candidates would run as an open convention. I don't know, because people like Deval Patrick or Jared Polis, or even someone like Tim Walz or Andy Bashir, who are somewhat well-known, I feel that, they just wouldn't be well-known enough across the country, especially when you have people like Harris or Warren or Buttigieg running, which would result in them saying, I have no chance, I would only win my state and maybe one or two neighboring states. Why should I even run? So in a blitz primary, especially considering all the fundraising, all the money, all the effort you'd have to put into it, more than an open convention at least, many candidates would opt out, while they would in a open convention. So that's my thoughts on this whole situation. Very interesting what's unfolding. I believe still that Biden will drop out. Again, I think he'll just be forced out. I don't think tomorrow, in, maybe the following, somewhere between tomorrow and a week after, I think that he could drop out sometime by then. So thank you all for watching this video. If you enjoyed, make sure to subscribe down below. It helps a lot. We're trying to get to 10,000 subscribers. That's the goal. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you all next time.